Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena gratitam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayani Amba Tvamanusandaddhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavai Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidutsura suraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Om Shri Ganeshaya namaha Om Shri Saraswatyai namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo namaha. So the 12th chapter begins with Arjuna's question, which a lot of us have, that should we worship God with form?
Recording in progress.
Should we worship God with form or formless? And which one is superior? So Bhagavan Sri Krishna directly does not answer, but basically his premise is that worshipping the form is easier because as we all have this very strong body identification that I am this body. And as long as you have that, you will worship the form. But slowly one has to see this form as formless, all pervading. Cannot limit Bhagavan to only one particular form or one particular location or one particular appearance, but everything is that. And not only that, but Bhagavan is beyond whatever I can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, think, perceive, everything. And most important is the attitude with which you worship God. So, Maya Veshya Manoya Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayo Petaha Teme Yukta Tamamata. He says, with complete faith, surrender your mind to me and worship me. Worship not only as prayer, but take me with you in all your activities. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya mat paraha ananye naiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. Where then I have no other goal in mind except the Lord. And even when I am working for the Lord. God is my employer. God has given me everything I have. I have no sense of ownership. And that he says, and then such a person, Bhagavan says, I then lift them. You don't have to despair. You just do my work, think about me, and then I will bring you to myself. And then last week, the Lord has given us 4 steps for 4 type of students. So first one, he says, Mayeva mana adhatsva, Mai buddhim niveshaya, nivasishyasi mayeva, ata urdvamna samshay. So put your mind in me with love and intellectually learn to know me, and then you will live in me at all times. That is the highest level of student who has very minimum vasanas, very minimum disturbance of mind, and that rare student can put his or her mind, intellect totally in God and live in God. He does not see any difference between me and God. So if you cannot do that, then he says, then atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayi sthiram abhyasa yoge na tataha mamichaptum dhananjaya. If you are not able to keep your mind on me, then practice. Keep on repeatedly, bring your mind back to me. When your mind is on anything else, remember God at all times. Put little reminders in your car, at your home, little pictures or on your phone, so that reminds you of God's presence. And then every day, get up in the morning chanting the Lord's name. When you go to bed at night, lie down, you chant the Lord's name. And as you breathe in and out, you chant it. And so what will happen is you will sleep with God's name. You will wake up with God's name. And as often as possible, chant the mantra, whatever your mantra is. Om Namah Shivaya, Shri Krishna, Sharanam Mama, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. So whatever the mantra is, take every opportunity to chant it, and slowly, slowly your mind will get practice. He says, Abhyase pyas samarthosi mad karma paramo bhava madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. He says, if you cannot practice, you cannot do that. You say, it's very hard to remember. I'm so busy. I'm all the time working. He says, okay, then work for me. As we said, make me your employer. So even if you are working for State Farm or Google, or even if you are working at home, whatever I am doing for God. God is my employer. God has given me everything I have, and God is the one for whom I work all the time. Dedicate all activities to the higher. So somebody says, Bhagwan, I cannot do number 1. I cannot put my mind and intellect in you. I cannot do practice number 2. I cannot work for you number 3. I forget about you while I'm working. You know how busy I am, morning to night, taking care of children and cooking, and housewife's work is never done. You know that, Bhagwan. Bhagwan says, yeah, I know that. So I'm not able to do number 1, number 2, or number 3. So he said, okay, if you're not able to do those 3, I'll give you the choice number 4. Athaitadapyashaktosi kartum madyogamashritah sarvakarma phalatyagam tatak kuruyatatmavan. Please mute, and all can chant together. Shloka 11. Athaitadapyashaktosi kartum madyogamashritah sarvakarma phalatyagam tatak kuruyatatmavan. So atha, in case, etadapi, even this you cannot do. You cannot do number 1. You cannot do number 2. You cannot even work for me. Why? Because I want to do what I want to do. I like to do what I want. I don't want to be doing activities for you or for anybody else. So Gurudev says somebody who has lot of rajas and tamas, who has lot of desires, and wants to work for himself or herself. So, etadapi ashaktosi. Ashakta means you are incapable of even working for me. Asi means you are incapable of working for me. Kartum mad yogam ashritaha. Yoga means you're connecting your mind with me, doing all activities for me. Ashrita means taking refuge in that idea that I am doing everything for Bhagwan. And Bhagwan is the one for whom I am working and constantly remembering. And if you are not able to do that, okay, while working, I cannot remember. And Bhagwan says, okay, I'll give you option number 4. And what is that? Sarva karma phala tyagam. Sarva karma, all activities. Phala means the fruit, the result of the activities. Phala tyagam, surrender that, give it to me. Tata Kuru, do that. Oh, who? Yatatmavan. Yatatmavan means one who is self-controlled. And again, Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita that self-control is very important. It is very important for me to decide what I want to do and then follow up on it. We have a lot of good intentions. I'm going to get up in the morning and meditate. Alarm clock rings, we shut it off. Or I'm going to exercise regularly, or I'm going to eat healthy, or I'm going to do more community service. I'm going to spend time in serving others, in helping. We have all these good intentions, and the mind gets these ideas, but then as we are studying in Tattva Bodha, the mind is samshayatmaka. One side of the mind says, I must do it. Other side, what is the need of waking up early in the morning? 5 o'clock, only crazy people wake up. Shut off the alarm and go to sleep. Or if it says, I must help others. He says, if I help others, then what are others doing? If I help others, then what are others doing? Why should I help others and they don't do anything for me? So then the second part of the mind says, so the intellect has to guide the mind, but the intellect has to be sattvic intellect, who has to get the right ideas from the scriptures and from the guru. Because intellect can be sattvic with the right idea, or intellect can be rajasic, which is selfish, or intellect can be tamasic, which is lazy and, into drugs. So the right intellect with the right knowledge, when it guides you, then such a person is said to be self-controlled, where whatever I decide, I put it into practice because it is good for me. So that understanding is called Yatatmavan. So Bhagavan says, be like that, and whatever are the results of the actions you get, you surrender to me. So what do we mean by Palatiaga? That has been covered before in the chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita, but that was a long time ago. We don't remember chapter 3. So let us revise what is the meaning of Karma Palatiaga. So as Gurudev says, a person who has a lot of rajas and tamas, selfishness and laziness, for such a person, this fourth path, where it says, give the fruit of the action to me. So what they say is that most people, they work for wages. Okay, I work and I get salary. And the idea is to do minimum work and get maximum pay, maximum salary. I should get the maximum. And Gurudev says that such people are called wage earners, where all they're doing is, I'm going for my salary. So every work they do, what can I get out of it? So Bhagavan Sri Krishna looks down on such people who say, even in the 4th chapter, he says that those who yagya shishta shina santa muchante sarva karma kilbishai. He says that those who share what they have earned with others, they are the ones that are doing the right action. Even if you have worked and earned, but still there are so many people who have contributed. So whatever I earn, part of it must be given to others. She says, those who only keep everything they have earned for themselves, they agham papa, they eat papa, they eat sin. So actions should be done unselfishly, and the results I get should be shared. Obviously, I need to take care of myself, my family, my retirement, but most of us have enough for that, and effort should be made to share with others. And then they also say that while you are working, do not keep the fruit in your mind. Do not keep results in your mind. So what do you mean? I'm starting a building project. Don't I have a plan, what the final building is going to look like? What the reason? I cannot just start construction. I go to an architect, get the plans, get it approved by the city, or somebody starts a business. What is the goal of the business? That I should make this product, it should sell, it should be successful, people should buy it. There might be competition, but I should be able to, overcome. So you cannot say that while I am working, I am not concerned about the result, because any activity you do, even starting a mission, or when we started Bal Vihar, or when Gurudev started Chinmaya mission, the purpose was to educate maximum people, adults, children, everything. But when Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, give up the fruit of action, it does not mean that you don't have a goal or you don't have a purpose. What is meant is that while doing your action, do not think about the result. What am I going to get out of it? The example they give is a student taking SAT or MCAT or LSAT or one of those tests. Okay. And while the student is preparing for the test, he or she is thinking, if I do well in this test, what will I get? I'll go to a good college, and then I go to a good college, my parents will be happy. So all the time the child is thinking about the result while preparing. And worse than that, while the child is taking the test in the exam hall, still the child is thinking, if I get in SAT out of 2,400, 2,200 or 2,000, how good everybody will be, how happy my parents will be, and what good college. So if while doing the action, your mind is on the result, you won't be able to focus, because half your mind is focusing on what I will get. So like, a person, we had talked before also, salesman doing a presentation for a particular product, and there's competition, there's 2 or 3 competitors for this contract, and he or she is preparing the night before, and while giving the presentation, if he thinks, if I get this contract, I will get this much commission, and I'll go on with. So then your mind is not fully on the activity. So Gurudev says, while you're doing, keep your hands where your mind is, or keep your mind where your hands are working. So my mind and hand should be totally focused on the activity at hand. And what about the result? Result, you leave it to me. We'll talk about that at the end of this shloka. So when I am not focused on the result, I conserve my energy. My energy is not wasted here and there in doing, in thinking about what will happen, or if I don't get this, then what will happen? Last time I didn't get this contract. So if the salesman is thinking about that, or the student is thinking, I didn't get very good in the SAT last time, if this time also I might not. So either way, the mind gets dissipated. But then somebody says, I love to do what I want to do. I don't want Bhagavan or anybody telling me what to do. I don't want Guru telling me. So they say there are a couple of things. One is that follow injunctions of the scriptures. So while you do what you want to do, that's fine, nothing wrong with that. But do not do nishiddha karma. Do not do activities that are forbidden by the scriptures. So that is very important. Actions, you can do what you like to do, but avoid forbidden actions. That's number one. Number two, if you enjoy doing, dedicate to me. Like somebody loves playing golf, plays golf 3 days a week, several hours, 18 holes. So Bhagavan says that's fine. But what you do, once or twice a year, organize a golf tournament. And all proceeds from that tournament, give it to charity. That's what we do at the Chinmaya Mission. Every couple of years, we organize a golf tournament, and several members of the mission participate in arranging it, in raising funds, and getting sponsors. And that helps the mission in its activity. So you enjoy playing golf, play golf, but dedicate that day's earnings to me, to Bhagavan. That's what Bhagavan says. Or you love painting. Okay, make nice paintings, sell them, and give them to charity. Could be any good charitable cause. You love to sing, right? Okay, sing, but organize a music program and invite all your friends and sell tickets and donate the proceeds to charity. So the point is that whatever we do, you continue to do what you enjoy doing, but remember that the results should be shared. And why should I do that? Because I remember last week we talked about Anga and Angi, that I am a part of the totality, like the finger is a part of the total body. So wherever the body needs help, the finger goes. So similarly, wherever in society help is required, wherever there is an earthquake or like there's a problem in Haiti or wherever there is a difficulty, people are not getting, food, I should give, not as I'm doing a great favor to them, but that it is, I am part of that. So that is called true service, where I don't even think that I'm doing a favor, it comes spontaneously. Then even in doing non-profit or charitable work, sometimes people get this idea that what am I going to get out of it? I do charitable work, that's very good, but then I want a title. I want a title, vice president or president or secretary or some, committee member. And so that becomes a bhoktritva, that I do the action, but again, I have some hidden agenda that what am I going to get? I am going to get a title, my name will come in the paper, I'll become famous. So Bhagavan says, even give that up. Title is not important, whether somebody gives you title or not, somebody recognizes or not, somebody praises or not. That's not your goal. Your goal is to do it. So give up this bhoktritva, that what will I get? Even the idea of title, recognition, even that there is some agenda in it. So even that you can give up. Then the second, you give up the bhokta bhav, the enjoyership, but you have the doership. I am doing it. I'm such a great social servant. I have done so much. I work for this organization. I have this. And then somebody else comes and who can do the same job better than you can. So you should be willing to even give that up. Okay, if you can do it better, you do it. That's fine. As long as the work gets done, it doesn't matter I do it or you do it. It is a good work, and whoever does it, it's good. And anyway, I can help is fine. If not, it's okay. You take it over. I'll find something else to do. Because then that doership, that I am doing it, should also be gone. Example is same thing, the finger. Now, if there's a hurt in this hand, my finger can help. But if there's a hurt in this part, my finger cannot help. The other finger has to come and help. So there may be some jobs that I do well, some jobs others do well. So not only I should be willing to do it, but I should be willing to give up. That if it's not required, I don't do it. And who will take care of the results? If I don't worry about the results, Bhagavan says, have faith in me. I am the one who moves all these galaxies and the whole universe and everything. You think I won't take care of you? I won't take care of the results. So have faith in Bhagavan. There's a very beautiful incident in Ramayana. All of you know it, but there's a little new twist to it. So Bhagwan Sri Rama, as we know, was told to go to the forest. One day he was to become king, and next morning he was told to go to the forest. And Lakshmana was so angry, he said, I'm going to fight, and single-handedly I'll defeat Dashratha's army and make you king. And of course, we know Bhagwan Sri Ramchandraji said, it's my father's promise and my mother wants it, and Bharat will be a good king. It is good for everybody. That we already know, but there was another thing that Bhagwan Ramchandraji told Lakshmana. He says, Lakshmana, think about it. Aren't there times when you have planned everything to the last detail? In detail you have planned. And when you go to execute, the plan doesn't work out the way you wanted. You think you planned everything, and it doesn't. Why? Because there is a higher power than you and me that is running this cosmos. That's what Bhagwan tells him. He says there is some higher purpose in why we are being sent to the forest. And think about it, by going to the forest, otherwise Ramchandraji would have been just an ordinary king who ruled. But by sacrificing, Ramchandraji's glory came out. Sitaji's glory came out because she went with Ramchandraji. Lakshmanji's glory came out, how he sacrificed everything to go. Bharatji's glory came out. Even though he got the kingdom, he ruled it as a servant. And then Ravana was destroyed. Ravana was such that nobody could kill him. No the Devtas, nor Danavas, nor animals. Nobody could kill him. He had got a vardhan. He had got a boon. Only a human can kill me, he had said. And so Ramchandraji, Bhagwan, had to take the form of a human. So the point is that so many things happened because of Ramchandraji. So there are a lot of higher powers. And when we do things in the world, one has to constantly remember that there is a higher power working through me. I am not doing it. So here we see that Bhagwan has given 4 levels based on the amount of vasanas. If you have minimum, put your mind and intellect in me. If you have a little more, do practice. Third one, do activities for me. Fourth one, if you cannot do activities for me, give me the results. So these are 4 for all 4 levels. No matter how much vasanas you have, Gurudev in his commentary said, this treatment 4 ways. It's not that thou shalt do this or thou shalt suffer in hell. Nothing like that. Bhagwan says, here I'm giving you 4 choices. You choose which one is best. So now we think number 1 is best, and then number 2 is second, and then third, and number 4. But is it really so? So here Bhagwan throws a googly. We'll talk about that in verse number 12. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat.
Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat.
Jnanadhyanam vishishyate.
Jnanadhyanam vishishyate.
Jnanat karma phalatyagaha.
Jnanat karma phalatyagaha.
Yaga chantiranantaram.
Tyaga chantiranantaram.
Together. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat. Jnanadhyanam vishishyate. Dhyanat karma phalatyagaha. Tyaga chantiranantaram. So we think that number 1 is best, then 2, then 3, then 4. And Bhagwan says, well, yeah, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat. So 1 is mechanically doing, like you're doing puja, you just mechanically do, or you're doing chanting, you just mechanically, Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Mechanically you're doing, that is good. It is better than not doing it. But rather than doing mechanically, do why am I doing this puja? Why am I doing this chanting? Why am I doing this meditation? So my mind should be on God. So jnanam. And why? For who am I doing it? I'm doing it for Bhagwan. And I'm doing it not that Bhagwan needs it. I'm doing it for my growth, my evolution. So that right knowledge is better than practice. Then jnana dhyanam vishishyate. Better than jnana is meditation or dhyanam. What is dhyanam? It is abiding in that knowledge, that I get this knowledge, I practice it, and then I firmly abide in this knowledge, where this knowledge becomes my knowledge. That is called dhyana or meditation. So better than practice is knowledge. Why am I practicing? Better than practice is meditation, dhyanam. But now Bhagavan throws a googly. You know, those of you who follow cricket, you know what a googly is. There's a leg spinner who keeps throwing leg spin, leg spin. And then suddenly with the same action, he changes it to a off spin. And the batsman is expecting a leg spin and puts his bat there and he gets clean bowled or he gets LBW. Or in baseball, they call it a curved ball. You know, he keeps throwing fastball. And then suddenly he throws a slow curved ball. And the batsman expecting a fast ball gets out. So here also we are expecting one is better, two is second, third is third, and fourth is fourth. But Bhagavan says, no, fourth is better than one. Dhyanat karma palatyaga. Giving up the fruit of action is even better than number one, better than meditation. Tyagat shantir anantaram. There is total peace. Tyagat, by tyaga, by renunciation, shanti anantaram. How can number four be better than number one? That is our question. That by better than meditation is karma phala tyaga. So the point is that there are two ways to look at this particular shloka. It's a very beautiful shloka, because we are so used to, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But here Bhagavan is saying 4 is actually better than the other 3. And why is that? One is that I have to see where I am. Say I graduate from high school and I go to college. Now I can either become a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. Now senior is the highest, then junior, then sophomore, then freshman. I cannot say I'm graduated from college. I don't want to do 3 years. Directly, I want to do senior. You are not qualified. You are just graduated from high school. For you, what is best? Freshman. Number 4 is best for you, because you at this moment are only qualified to be freshman. And then when after freshman, you go sophomore, junior, like that. So at this moment, I may be only qualified to dedicate the fruit of my action. As yet, my mind is not stable enough to stay in the highest. So that is number 1, that what is my training? What is my ability? It's like taking a road. I want to go to San Francisco. I can drive from here to Bakersfield to San Francisco. I can fly, or I can take the train. So depending on my ability, if I like to drive, I go in 4 hours. If somebody, I don't want to drive, I want to relax. Okay, take the train. It will take 6, 7, 8 hours. I don't have 8 hours. I need to be there right, today and come back tonight. Then take a flight. Again, then flight is more expensive, train. And so based on my ability, financial and my work abilities, I pick the road. So here Bhagavan says for Arjuna or for anybody else who at this moment is not ready to dedicate all activities to God, whatever results you get, take it as God's prasad. God has given this to me and I dedicate. So, and I share a part of my gains with everybody else. So that is, one is that what is my ability? Also, Bhagavan wants to tell us that giving up the results is not inferior. People think, this is something for lower people. It is inferior. No, it is very good. Whatever I get, I must share with others. I must deal with others. The other higher reason is that when I do not work for results, and I dedicate everything to God, I get peace of mind. Because what happens is that Gurudev says, Matras Parshastu Kaunteya Bhagwan in the second chapter. Matras Parshastu Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukha Daha Agama Paino Nityaha Tanstitik Shasva Bharata. In life, we will meet obstacles, you will meet problems. But if you are doing it for God and you are dedicating to God, then your mind will be at peace. And unless your mind is at peace, you're not going to be able to meditate. You're not going to be able to do puja. You're not even going to be able to study. Because for all of that, we need peace of mind. And unless my mind is at calm, I'm not going to be able to do anything. So that's why when I do not worry about the results, then my mind while acting is at peace. There's a beautiful story I heard. So there was this Mahatma who was giving talks. And at the end of the second day, one of the listeners comes at the end and bows down to Mahatma Ji and says, from tomorrow, I'm not coming to your lectures. So he says, why? You didn't like them? He says, no, lectures are good. But yesterday when I came, somebody stole my slippers in the class, took my slippers away. So I'm not going to come. So Mahatma Ji says, one pair of slippers you couldn't give up. And here I'm telling you to give up 14 worlds. Pure 14 lok you have to surrender, give up everything to Bhagwan. One pair of slippers you have a problem giving up. How will you give up the entire universe? So the point is that small things we hold on to, and that disturbs our peace. And so he says, while doing the activity, perform your best, but whatever result comes, give the results to God. Also, they say that while meditating, why karma palatyaga is better than dhyana, dhyana karma palatyagaha, because they say that, I am meditating. And while I am meditating, I'm thinking about the result. So like there are some people who think in meditation, I should see a blue light, or I should hear some bells, or I should hear Bhagwan Shri Krishna's flute, or, when I get up from meditation, I'll be in this samadhi and people will be waiting, with a garland to put around my neck. So while meditating, you're already thinking about what will be the fruit of meditation. So obviously your meditation, while at this moment, my purpose is that my mind should be stilled and my mind should be always on God. So they say this is a relative peace. You start by dedicating results to God, and slowly, what will happen is you can progress from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. And then from this relative peace, right now I have the peace, okay, whatever I get, I dedicate to God. So this is called a relative peace. But then I experience an absolute peace. That peace that when my mind becomes totally one with God, then that peace that these saints describe and these Mahatmas is indescribable. That's why Jesus said, the peace that passeth all understanding. You cannot understand or explain that peace of this individual who has become one with God, who has reached enlightenment. I was reading about Saint Catherine of Genoa of Italy, and she describes it so beautifully. There is a long paragraph. If somebody is interested, I can send you a picture of that. But she says that when the mind becomes one with God, when the soul has no separation from God, then she says, then this person is not doing anything, is neither hearing anything, nor seeing anything, or doing anything. Then God alone exists and God alone is doing. And that peace that is experienced cannot be put in words, because there is nothing at that point, nothing but that supreme peace of oneness. And that peace which Mahatmas experience of enlightenment is such that cannot be put in words. But the reason they do that, so that you and I also should be encouraged to evolve in our spiritual studies. Last week also I had said that do not just keep on doing what you have been doing, but grow in your spiritual sadhana, in your spiritual practice, and evolve so that I may get closer to God. That is the purpose of sadhana, that I may be closer to God and my mind may become filled with God. Krishna Maya, they call it, or Rama Maya, that my mind should only think of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, only think of Bhagavan Shri Ram. Nothing else should be. So in that meditation, when your mind disappears, that's what they say. Eka Chintanat Nasham Ityataha, Raman Maharishi says, when that one thought of God and God alone is there, then there is no mind. I reach the state of no mind. Does not mean that I lose my mind, but I become one with God's mind. And then such an individual, when he or she gets out of meditation, becomes an instrument for God. It's not that the person becomes useless. In fact, the person is now, God is working through that person 100%. Then this person has no ego, no separation, nothing, and sees God and God alone, not only in himself, but sees God in all. So that is called enlightenment. And that is what these great saints describe, how this individuality gets lost in the totality. And then this person becomes an instrument for totality. That's we see in all these great Mahatmas, how Swami Chinmayananda ji worked, how Shankaracharya ji worked, how all these great Mahatmas, they did so much in their lifetime because God was working through them. So that's what Bhagavan says, that dedicate all actions to me and offer results to me, because whatever I have acquired is because of God's grace. So this attitude of gratitude and humility is very, very important. So now here, Bhagavan has answered Arjuna's question of which is greater, whether it is form or formless. And as we have heard, from form, I should go to formless. From one form, see him in many forms, see him in all forms, and ultimately see as formless beyond all forms. That is something. So that is how I grow in my sadhana. Now Bhagavan Shri Krishna has taken up a new topic, and that is, what are the qualities of a devotee? Beautiful topic. There is, Gurudev says there are only two places in Bhagavad Gita where Bhagavan has listed the qualities of a Mahatma so beautifully. One is in the second chapter at the end, which is called Sthita Prajna Lakshanani, the qualities of a Sthita Prajna, of a man of wisdom. And here Bhagavan Shri Krishna talks about qualities of a devotee. And there is not much difference, we will see. And it's very interesting. In qualities of a devotee, nowhere Bhagavan says he goes to the temple 3 times a week, he prays to me every day. Not that one should not go to the temple or pray, but our idea of bhakti is that's all. Bhakta is the one who puts a tilak on his forehead and goes to the temple and prays. But when he comes out of the temple, he's cheating others. You know, that's not, Bhagavan says, that is not my deal. Going to the temple is good, praying is good, remembering me is good, but this knowledge has to be transferred into your actions. Until now, Bhagavan had told us how this devotee deals with objects, you know, like matra sparshastu. But now, how does this devotee deal with people? That is being addressed in this particular shloka. Sorry, shloka number 13 in chapter 12, shloka number 13, which give us the qualities of a devotee. And this will continue next week. Today we'll do the first shloka. Beautiful shloka. Adveshta sarva bhutanam.
Adveshta sarva bhutanam.
Maitra karuna evacha.
Maitra karuna eva cha.
Nirmamo nirahankaraha.
Nirmamo nirahankaraha.
Samadukha sukha kshami.
Samadukha Sukha Kshami.
Together. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukha kshami. So adveshta means he is incapable of hating anybody. He has no hatred for anybody. Sarva bhutanam, all beings, even people who have been mean and evil to me, yes. Bhagavan says all beings, adveshta, never have hatred for anybody. We'll talk about why we should not have hatred. Not only he says don't have hatred, but be a friend, maitra and karuna. Karuna is a very beautiful word, means compassionate. Be friendly, loving and compassionate to all. Not only don't have hatred, but positively love everybody and be compassionate to them. And then evacha, maitra karuna evacha also. And then another quality Bhagavan says, nirmamaha nirahankaraha. Nirmama means nothing is mine, and nirahankara means I. So I and mine, both we have to give up. And then the one more quality, sama dukkha sukha. In joy and sorrow remain the same. And kshami, forgiveness. There's a Bhagavan, these are very difficult qualities. I should not hate anybody. I should love everybody. I should forgive. How about people who have been mean to me or who have hurt me badly or who have cheated me or who have caused so much suffering? Yeah, if somebody is continuously hurting you, we're not saying you become a doormat. If you can stop it, stop it. But say somebody 5 years ago did something bad, or 1 year ago, or 6 months ago, and so I never forgive that person. I will always. Who are you hurting? Just you yourself. By constantly dwelling on past resentments. This person did something to me. It was so bad. It was so wrong. And I hate this person. That person did that bad thing and he's long gone. But the resentment keeps on feeding in our mind. And I will never forgive. I'll be angry. I'll be resent him. So who are we hurting? Just ourselves. So all the Mahatmas say forgive and forget. If the incident is over, I have forgiven you. I have no resentment toward you. So what you are doing, you are freeing yourself from this. Otherwise, constant resentment, constant anger, constant hatred, what it does, it causes major disturbances in our mind. And when the mind is disturbed, how can we heal? If you want your mind to heal from the trauma of that situation, whatever that person did, I have to forgive. And only when my mind heals, then only I can be in a state of peace. Even my body will feel much better. It will. So the point is that I have to consciously give up hatred and forgiveness. Then and then alone, there will be healing. And that is very, very important. So do not have hatred, forgive everybody, and be kind and compassionate to all. Help others as much as you can. Again, we talked about the body. Body automatically helps another part. Even if my teeth have bitten my tongue, I don't say my teeth bit my tongue, so I'm going to break my teeth. No, I forgive my teeth. It happened. So similarly, I forgive everybody, whoever has done anything wrong, and move on with my life. Otherwise, we keep on dwelling on this, and all it will do is create all kind of problems in us, all kind of mental problems, all kind of everything, whatever difficulties we are having, lot of them are due to mental stress. So when your mind becomes peaceful, there will be general healing. And then he says, give up I and mine. And this we know, I and mine, because nothing belongs to us. Everything has been given to us by God. So who am I to claim I and mine? We are not. And that is our problem, that this is my house, this is my money, this is my body, this is my mind. No, everything is God's. And how am I to serve? By giving back to God whatever He has given me. So everything I have is, there is no I, there is no mind. And that is very, very important, because otherwise this ego comes, there is nobody better than me. There is nobody smarter than me. Nobody can talk like me. Nobody has as much money as I have. I am the boss of my factory. I am the boss of my business. So I and mine comes in, and then we get all kind of problems. So that's why even in the life of Jad Bharat, some of you have known the story, he gave up his kingdom to go and meditate. And he was a very evolved saint, meditator. And then he found a baby deer who the mother had died. And so he started taking care of this baby deer. And soon he developed the idea, my deer, this is my deer. And I'm taking care of this deer. And I don't know if when I die, who will take care of this deer? Deers, God takes care of animals, you and I don't, but he developed this attitude of I and my. And we are studying in Vivek Chudamani that lesh matram api ahankara, even a trace of ego, if you have, you cannot go to enlightenment. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji says it very clearly that if I think I am doing it, I am somebody. And what is ahankar? Ahankar, some people think ego means, he has a big ego. He thinks he's very great. No, that is not ego. That is the worldly meaning of ego. In Vedanta, when we say ego, it means this idea that I am this limited individual. And I have to understand that I am that divinity. All of us are divine. God is in me. God is working through me. And I, by myself, do no thing. I am no thing. I am nothing. God alone is, that is called giving up ahankar. So Bhagavan says, I am the one working through you constantly. Remember that, nimitta matram bhava savya sachin. In the 11th chapter, he says, Maye nihata purvameva nimitta matram bhava savya sachin. Oh Arjuna, these people you see, Drona, Bhishma, Karna, they've already, all the Kauravas have already been killed. At the end of this 18-day war, they won't be alive. Their time has done. Their karmas are already over. I'm asking you to be an instrument. If you don't do it, I'll find somebody else to do it. But these warriors are not going to be alive. Their karmas are over. Their time is over. So whatever you are doing, do it as an instrument of God. Then Bhagavan says, Sama Dukkha Sukha. Be the same in joy and sorrow. Now this we find very difficult to practice, but we have to understand that if Sukha is coming, I should be grateful, thankful to God. The other thing is that if Sukha is there, one side of the coin, other side is Dukkha. If I get too dependent on something or somebody, sooner or later, I will have to give it up because nothing is permanent. And when I have to give up, I will have sorrow. So Sukha and Dukkha come together. So when Sukha comes, I develop gratitude, humility. Thank you, Bhagwan, for what you have given me. If Dukkha comes, also be grateful. Why? Because this Dukkha is there to awaken me. When sorrow comes, there is some deficiency in me which I am not able to overcome. So Bhagwan, in his mercy and compassion, one, you can say it is because of my karmas. That is one. But more than that, it is God's grace and mercy that this sorrow has come. So I should wake up. I should awaken. So these joys and sorrows, both I should take as Bhagwan's prasad and not say, oh, I only want joy, 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 joy. I don't want sorrow. It's not going to happen. If you live long enough, your body will give you sorrow. If you live to 70, 80, 90, body is not always going to be, your mind one day will be happy, one day unhappy. Intellect, successful, unsuccessful. So these pairs of opposites will always be there. So Bhagavan Sri Krishna says that remain the same in joy and sorrow. Talking about sorrow, kind of, anyway, so there was this village from where all the men were going on a pilgrimage, and only the men were supposed to go. And so they were going in the train in the last compartment. And it so happened there was an accident, and another train from the back came and rear-ended, and this compartment was destroyed, and all the men died, unfortunately. So all the women were taken in a bus, and they were all crying, and they went to that place, and they were all crying and crying. And one was crying the loudest, kept on crying, and she wouldn't stop. All the others stopped, but this one kept on crying. So finally, one of the officers there says, "Madam, I'm so sorry to hear you're crying. Which one of these was your husband?" She says, "No, my husband is the one who missed the train." so the idea of joy and sorrow can be different. But the point is that joys and sorrows will come to everybody, but think of them as an opportunity to bring me closer to God. That's why Kunti told Bhagavan Sri Krishna, only give me sorrows. Don't give me joy, because in joy, I don't remember you. In sorrow, I remember you. So each of these beautiful qualities, Adveshta, does not hate anybody. Sarva Bhutanam, of all beings. He is friendly. He is compassionate. She is sharing, giving others, forgiving. See, forgiveness is a very important quality, emphasized in all religions, in Christianity, in Hinduism, in all religions. Forgiveness has been given a lot of importance. Then do not have I and my, and remain the same, balanced in joy and sorrow, success and failure, heat and cold, even heat and cold. Now it is so hot, 104, and then it will be 32. So understand that this is the nature of things. Nothing remains the same. So what they are saying, that these qualities are not just meant to be heard and say, oh, kya Bhagwan ne kya acha bola hai. Beautiful qualities. Wow, wow. It's not, Bhagwan is not looking for praise. Bhagwan is saying these qualities I have to develop in me. If I find that I don't have, if I have hatred, if I don't have forgiveness, if I have arrogance, if I have I and mine, if I get disturbed easily, then I have to develop these qualities. I have to develop love and compassion. I was listening to a commentary, and it says that they are like depth charges. Now, what are depth charges? It is like, say, a ship is floating on the ocean, a warship of war, and there is a submarine in the bottom, which is 2,000 feet deep. And now the warship knows that the submarine is going to shoot me and destroy the ship. So what they do, before the submarine can shoot, the warship will release a depth charge. What is called a depth charge? That it is heavy and it sinks. And when it goes to 2,000 feet where the submarine is, it explodes, boom, and destroys the whole submarine. So these qualities are like depth charges, where they should go deep into my mind, into my intellect, into my subconscious, deep, just like that weapon goes deep into the ocean. It should go deep into my mind, and it should explode, but not for destruction, for healing. That these qualities should become automatic. They should go so deep into my subconscious that I don't even think about it. I don't even think about hatred. I don't even think about jealousy. I don't even think about, not forgiving. I automatically have love, compassion for all. I remain the same in joy and sorrow. And I have no I and mine. So these qualities should go deep into our heart, into our mind, into our subconscious, so that they become part of my daily behavior. I should automatically practice these qualities. And how that will happen? By repeated thinking about it, by reading these shlokas, by reading Gurudev's commentary. All of you have that. Gurudev's commentary. If you don't have, you should buy it. We have it in the office. You can meet us and we'll give you. So read these qualities every day. Read these shlokas every day and make them part of us. So that is what Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, that dedicate all your activities to me, surrender your results to me, because through surrender, you will develop peace of mind. And then Bhagavan has started these list of beautiful qualities, Advaita, Sarva Bhutanam, etc. So we'll continue these qualities next week. I really thank you all for the 12th chapter is so beautiful. Each shloka is so much material. We could easily talk for 2-3 hours, but we have to limit it to 1 hour. So thank you all. Any comments, any questions, please feel free to add.
No, you're doing very well, but I just remember Gurudev used to say from 13 sloka to 20 sloka, there are 36 values given.
Right.
And he used to always say that we know that I love God or we love God, but how do you know that God loves you? Of course, he is compassionate. He loves no matter if we don't love him. But this is one of the ways Gurudev said that if you develop one of these 36 values, you are sure that God also loves you as much as you love. Like in a normal life, we say, I love her or him. You want to know whether that person loves you or not. So this is very much the indication that develop only one value, the other will follow through. We don't have to develop all 36. So I thought these slokas are so beautiful. But thank you.
Thank you.
Telling how do you know God loves you?
Thoda jor se.
So how do you know God loves you? He says, when you do an action and how you feel satisfied or your peace of mind, that means God is that God gives his approval. If you are disturbed after doing something, that means he did not approve. So your mind is an indicator whether God is happy with you or not happy with you. So that is very important. That's how because you cannot see, okay, God approved of my action or not. Only way you can tell is if you have, after doing, we say that, oh, we love what we, do. So that is what I heard Swamiji saying that to me. So
right.
That's a good checkpoint for all of us.
Right. Is my mind peaceful after doing this or not?
Any action, right. Helping others. Why do we feel good after helping others? Because you did something good and you feel good. It's in the giving that we receive. That's what they say. No?
Right. Thank you. Haji.
But it shouldn't be important whether or not God loves us. Because one of the things is you should be so devoted. Like I think Meera, it doesn't matter whether or not the love is returned. True love is when it doesn't matter whether or not the lover loves you back.
Sorry, Rachel, I'm getting
No, that is
while I'm
true.
on Friday.
Very good point. Oh, that's a very good point. Anything else you would like to add?
No, I think our devotion should be, because I'm not saying that I am there, should be so complete that it wouldn't matter whether or not God loves. Just like when you love your child, it really doesn't matter whether or not child loves you back.
Right. No, very good point. Very nice. What Bhagavan says is that God is not somebody outside or somebody sitting in heaven or Vaikuntha or Kailash. God is within us as life, as consciousness. So what it means is that when I do deeds dedicated to God, I come closer to God. And then God and I become one. So that's what Bhagavan says. But because Arjuna is not at that level and we are not at that level, so Bhagavan is saying that Yo Mad Bhakta Same Priyaha, he is dear to me, because God wants us to do these actions. But God is not only there as Sri Krishna or Sri Ram as Shiva, but it is my own being, my own self. So God and I are not separate. But when I do wrong actions, I go away from the divinity within me. Divinity, God is in everybody. The divine actions, the divine thoughts, they are constantly there in the scriptures. But when I do wrong actions, I go away from God. When I do good actions, I come closer to God. So that's what it means. I come closer to God who is within me. And then I myself feel pleased with my action, as Neeru said, when I get peace of mind. So I'm not doing actions to please God or to please anybody. And I totally agree with what Umaji was saying. We are not doing actions so that something may happen. I do it out of spontaneity. And that's what Bhagavan wants us to do. That's why I said they should become like depth charges. They should go deep into your subconscious and it should become automatic. You should not even think and not even think about the result. As we said, if I think, oh, by doing this, God will be pleased with me. God already said that do not worry about the result. Don't say by doing this action, God will be pleased. Then I am putting my happiness in the future. By doing this, I will be happy and God in me I will connect with God in me. And that is enlightenment. These masters have discovered God's presence within and have become one with that. And how have they done it? Through practicing all these values and through right knowledge. So I agree that it should not be done with a motive that by doing this, I will get something. No, do it because it's the right thing to do. Very good point. Thank you. Om na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kuto yam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Arati Shri Chinmaya Sadguru ki Devya Rupa Murati Karuna ki Arati Sadguru ki चरणों में उनके शांति समाए शरणागत की भ्रांति मिटाए पाप ताप संताप हरण की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की वेद उपनिषद गीता को गाया धर्म सनातन फिर से जगाया शुद्ध नीति प्रीति शंकर की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की सिद्ध बाड़ी की तपो भूमि में नित्य विराजे गुरु हमारे भक्त हृदय आनंद श्रोत्र की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की। बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Everybody can take the आरती please.
कायेन वाचा
मनसेन्द्रियेर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावः करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukha bhag bhave. Om asato ma satgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much. Hari Om.